To start, we're going Joey Logano under 3.5 race wins. I got that at minus 140 on Caesars. The biggest trend that I have noticed here with this particular bet, it's been 13 years since the defending champion matched their win total the following year. Last it was done was Jimmy Johnson in 2009, and Joey Logano has only hit this number once since 2015, and it was last year. So this seems like the biggest lock on the board from what I was able to research. Under 3.5 race wins for Joey Logano at minus 140 on Caesars, I think is a sure lock. You take a look at another driver. We talked about him earlier, but I'm going to go Bubba Wallace over half of a race win, minus 165 on Caesars. You know, we talked about him earlier, scored his second career win at Kansas last year. And the one thing also for Bubba Wallace, in addition to, you know, a lot of the crew mishaps, was just this team in general is always fired off slow to start the season. You know, runner-up finish in the 500 last year, but that was his only top 10 in those first 12 races. So for Bubba Wallace, for this 23 team, they got to clean up and start out strong. Toyota's bringing the heat this year, like I said. And, you know, Bubba breaking through last year for his win at Kansas, I do think he's going to get in victory lane this year. So I like over half of a race win at 165. A little bit of juice there, but found that on Caesars. Finally, for my third race win bet, at plus money, I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here. I'm going to take Daniel Suarez under half of a race win at plus 130 on Caesars. Daniel Suarez got his first career win in Sonoma last year, on his way to a round of 12 appearance. And at plus money, I think it's just too good to pass up. I mean, I really love what Trackhouse has built, but in talking about my playoff predictions, I do think that there are too many good teams this year, and I'm willing to take that risk at plus 130 for Daniel Suarez. I don't think he's gonna find victory lane this year, so I will take that under plus 130 on Caesars. Those are some of my race win bets here preseason. Now, we'll take a look at some championship outrights, and let's start with a driver who has maybe the best trait that you might need to win a championship. We're going to go Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell currently plus 1,200 on Barstool and DraftKings. He's got that clutch gene. And Christopher Bell, throughout the playoffs last year, we know what he did. To be able to clutch up like he did, give himself a shot at the championship, was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I take that to account. So I like Christopher Bell at plus 1,200. I think for what you're getting for him and the potential that he could have to make a run at the championship, I really like Christopher Bell in that spot. So at plus 1,200, I think is too good to pass up for C. Bell, and I think he's going to be a main player there for the championship. How about Kevin Harvick to finish as the top forward? Plus 500 on Barstool as the best value I've been able to find there. But the Bakersfield, California native has finished top 4 in 3 of the last 7 Fontana races, was 7th in this race a year ago. And compared to some of these other blue ovals, I like what you're getting here at plus 500 for Harvick, as opposed to just hammering a top 5. Those odds are certainly a little bit more juiced up. So look, I like Kevin Harvick to finish as the top forward. He's in his given tour. Lock it in. Kevin Harvick, top forward finisher, plus 500. The basis of my best bets for this week is all about consistency because, again, a lot of these are going to be shots in the dark just with this nature of super speedway racing and the unpredictability that Atlanta brings. But the first on the board that I have in my pocket is going to be Corey LaJoie to finish top 5, 7-1 on DraftKings. Corey LaJoie was the story of this race back in the summer, led 19 laps, was en route to his first career win in that 7 car up until that last lap crash block. But that race in the spring as well, Corey LaJoie came away with the top 5, was running top 10 there, and really found a way, as he typically does majority of the time on these super speedways. So you know that 7 team has this race circled. They get not 1 but 2 tries this year again, and I think Corey LaJoie is going to be up there running up front, and I like him to finish top 5 at 7-1. Give it to me. Bubba Wallace to finish as the top Toyota at plus 450 on Barstool Sportsbook. look, Bubba Wallace and his consistency on these mile and a halves that he has shown over the course of his career over the last year or so needs to be taken notice of. And now I understand the racing here at Atlanta is different, but honestly plays into Bubba's favor. Bubba Wallace is a guy who's going to be up front. He's going to be aggressive, and he's going to be able to maintain the lead if he is able to get there. Toyota is still working through things, not really getting the assertion that I honestly thought we were going to get from this camp to begin the year. But this is a great spot for Bubba Wallace, that 23 team, some of these other Toyotas. But I do like Bubba at plus 450 on Barstool to be the top Toyota at the end of this one. One guy that I look at when the books first opened that I actually got a little action on already was Chris Buescher. Now, he's a driver. I got him at 30-1 on DraftKings, and this is a number that's most likely to see movement this weekend, barring practice and qualifying. Buescher finished 21st at COTA last year, sure, but top 10 in every road course race, including a runner-up at Sonoma, excluding COTA last year. And, with that said, Buescher owns the second highest average finish on this type of track since 2020. And we know RFK Racing. It's been no secret that they have speed this year. They have certainly come with a lot of gain, and I see a lot of upside in Buescher in this spot. So he's a driver that I like right now, currently at his price, that will probably get juiced once he is, or once practice and qualifying are in the books. I'm going to give you a matchup for this race. Again, the matchup offerings just have not been great, but I am going to take Brandon Jones over Sammy Smith, minus 110 on Superbook. And I like Brandon Jones here coming off of an 8th place finish at Las Vegas. As I mentioned, he was 15th in this race last year. That string of 5 straight top 10s and 2 runner-up finishes, I like a lot, and it's his 3rd best track by average finish in the Xfinity Series. As far as Sammy Smith, he's making his first start at Homestead in Xfinity, so the lack of experience I do think is going to hurt this team. And you combine that with the pressure of the playoffs after last week, just can't trust this 18 team. Haven't bet them much all year, but whether it be incidents on the track, struggles on pit road, this 18 team just continues to shoot themselves in the foot. And I think Brandon Jones is going to have enough speed, enough consistency at a track that he likes to race at. I think he will be able to deliver on this matchup. I expect him to have a top 10 car this weekend and continue to deliver on that consistency he has found on intermediates in the back half of the year. So give me Brandon Jones, minus 110 over Sammy Smith on Superbook. I thought about Cole Custer over John Hunter Nemechek. Cole Custer's plus 145 on Superbook over John Hunter. If you're looking for a way to fade John Hunter Nemechek, I think Cole Custer is a great spot because I do think Cole Custer is the guy to beat this weekend, despite the domination we've seen from John Hunter Nemechek on intermediate tracks this year. I just think Cole Custer, with his resume in a spot where, he's kind of that one driver who has been kind of teetering back and forth in terms of, the big 3 that we talk about with John Hunter, Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier. Cole Custer certainly wants to cement his name into that conversation and be the first driver locked in to the championship 4. I think Cole Custer certainly has a good shot to do it. But plus 145 over John Hunter Nemechek on Superbook, I think, is an interesting way to bet against John Hunter, especially if you're looking for a little bit more of an advantage with Cole Custer. Now let's get into the numbers, and let's take a look at the odds board on Caesars Sportsbook for this race. Starting at the top, I mentioned this, I prefaced this earlier. The top of this board is just heavily juiced to the favorites, obviously. John Hunter Nemechek sits there at plus 175. I mentioned those tracks that we've run this same tire compound on: Michigan, Kansas, Texas. Here are the results for John Hunter Nemechek. Michigan, winner, led 65 laps. Kansas, winner, led 154 laps. Texas, winner, led 35 laps. It's no secret this race runs through that number 20 car this year. John Hunter Nemechek is probably going to clap the field this weekend. Could be very much similar to Kansas, where he just absolutely smoked everybody and was no contest. But this is NASCAR. Anything can happen. Regardless, John Hunter Nemechek, the heavy favorite. Justin Allgaier is there at plus 325. Austin Hill, defending winner in the spring, is at 6-1. Josh Berry, plus 650. Second best track by average finish for Berry at 3.6. He's got 2 wins, 4 top fives, and a worst finish of 7th in 5 starts. So Josh Berry knows how to get it done in Vegas. He's at plus 650. Cole Custer is plus 750. Sam Mayer's 14-1 along with his teammate Brandon Jones. Sammy Smith is 15-1. Chandler Smith, 16-1. Chandler Smith led almost 60% of the laps in the spring race, finished third. Was a very, very clean race for Chandler. Just fell out of, lost the handling of the car, lost that speed at the very end of that race, which allowed Austin Hill to pass him with just a very few laps to go. But still, 118 laps led. Chandler Smith, 16-1 is certainly interesting. Sheldon Creed is 25-1. 3 drivers at 40-1. Myatt Snyder, Riley Herbst, and Daniel Hemrick. And then Parker Kligerman is at 50-1. I was really hoping to see a line this long for Parker, who has had borderline race winning speed at the last few intermediate tracks. 8th at Michigan, 4th at Kansas, runner-up at Texas. I'm going to be mentioning those tracks a lot because those I deem the most comparable to Vegas here. And Parker's sole focus for this team now is to win.